just like kind of another thing too is he was asking a lot of questions on like, okay, well, what are you gonna do as far as like bubble wrap and stuff? And I know we always talk about, you know, painting the picture and stuff. I think it's important to make sure that we do that. Like, hey, we're gonna come in, we're gonna break down and reassemble any furniture if we need to. Everything's gonna get pad wrapped and shrink wrapped. You know, that comes standard with our, you know, our moving processes. We don't charge extra for that. The only stuff that I need to worry about as far as materials or maybe some of the inventory specific items.
Yeah.
And then just kind of the last thing, I know this is something that I need to work on, but like you had asked the question, you were like, hey, like if you wanna make a deposit with us.
If you would book with us.
Yeah.
If you wanted to book
If
with
you
us,
would.
I need to get better myself and just being like, you're
Ask for the
gonna
sale.
book with us. I give you everything you need to know. There's no reason you're not gonna book with us. I catch myself doing that sometimes too. Hey, if you're ready to sign, like, no, you are ready to sign.
Yeah.
You have 0 questions because I answered everything before you could even ask it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my segue into explaining how the deposit works could turn into like assuming the sale versus asking if they're ready for the sale.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone say slow down. Slow
I have a lot
down.
of information. I'll just try to get it all.
No, you're good. You're good. But you also said that you sometimes do that with the people on the other side of the phone. So think about it from the side of like, always know, you can tell a lot from the client in the first couple of seconds, the way that they operate on the other side of the phone, right? When you're asking them the reason why they're moving, you'll know. If they're very straight to the point, you gotta pivot and be straight to the point. If they're telling you a little bit of their story and the great things that are happening and why they're moving, then it's like, okay, this is a person that actually wants to take the time and they really want someone to do a good job, and we're gonna sell them on that, versus you can always tell which one's price shopping and which one's not, right? So for some of these clients, like for hers, it's like, would you rather hire a company that took the time, that cared about your home and moving it the right way, or would you rather be with someone who's just drilling you through the entire process as quick as possible? Right? So think about the perspective of the client and how they operate, and what the client wants, not what Tyler wants. Tyler wants to get off the phone as soon as possible and book the call. What does the client want? So we got to make sure we put ourselves in their shoes too, to where we can make sure that they're getting that experience that they need. I love what you're doing and what you're saying. You're like taking control, but at the same time, we don't want to have so much control that we're ramming our client through the process, right? She's holding his hand and walking him through the process.
It does
Right?
happen sometimes. There was actually a particular situation, and I knew it. I was like self-aware, but I like had a hard time overcoming it. It was a decent-sized job. It was like a $5,800 job, and I told Carrie, I'm like, I can't communicate with this guy because I'm wanting to give this guy all these details, and he would just cut me off and be like, stop, I don't need to know. And I'm like, dude, I don't know how to talk to you.
Yeah.
I knew I had given this dude so much information, and my estimate was so good, and I was like, Carrie, just call him and ask for the deposit.
Yeah.
And
What does a confused mind do?
Nothing.
They don't buy.
They don't buy. When we confuse them with too many numbers and too many options and too many things, confused mind doesn't make a decision. And it's your job as the expert to help them make a decision, not stop them from making a decision, right? And in that case, instead of being like, okay, let me just get away, what we should have done is we got to learn how to self-correct. A person that can self-correct will forever be wealthy. That guy was telling you how he wanted to be sold. You just had to jump on the bandwagon, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, like I said, I was self-aware, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm struggling to talk to this guy, and I asked like somebody
That's
else, I
good.
go, just call him.
Yeah.
This is the conversations we had. This is where this is going. I know we have the best quote out there. I've answered every possible question he has, and then I was able to get somebody else to call and get it booked. But
Perfect, yeah. Are you guys like afraid to tee up that way?
No, we TO.
Okay, good,
A lot.
good,
Cool.
It's part
okay.
of our process.
Okay,
Cool.
perfect, that's good.
Sometimes you get a different person, a different voice saying the exact same thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll book with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
We operate the same way, so that's why I was asking that. That's good.
Oh, yeah, sure. One thing that I think as a team we can improve at, but that I noticed here is in the beginning, I feel like we need to build the value and set the tone right off the rip. You know, I see this so often. As soon as you answer the phone, it's, yeah, all right, let me get your name, let me get your number, let me get your email. You know, what type of move are you making? You know, we jump right into that information, and it just becomes like a process. We want to stay to the process. We want to also have them a good time on the phone, and build the value right off the rip. So ask them, all right, yeah, let me get you started. Quick question, have you ever used a professional movie company before? No? Yeah, let me tell you, this is what you're going to expect from us. we really set ourselves apart from the competition. This is what we're gonna do for you. Does that sound like a good time to you, right? Does that sound like this is what you're looking for, right? Build the value, say what we're doing. So now they're like wanting your services before they even have the price. If you give them a high price and they don't even really know, you haven't painted the picture yet, they're like, all right, yeah, you're doing all that, but the price was high. You reverse that around and you get them excited about the process or excited about the service, and then you give them a high price. They're like, yeah, it is pretty high, but you got me pretty excited about using you guys, right? Use that in the very beginning, and that's like how Maria said, the sale starts right off the rip, right? And the skills come in when they say no, but the sale starts when they answer the phone, right? You set the tone. We want to keep to the process so it's a habit and we don't miss anything, but you got to have it like a conversation. It seemed definitely more like there was a big checklist and we're just running through the checklist. And I'm not even just referring to this call. I see it all the time throughout just, everybody. And sometimes it just needs to be like a conversation, and you're gathering that information along the way while you're controlling the conversation. It's like a fine line you're kind of like balancing.
I just want to agree with you on that. The first thing that I ask when I'm on the phone with people is if they can tell me about their move. And even though we want to like direct that conversation and pull them in a couple times from that, sometimes that starts building that rapport right away, and they're going to let you in just a little bit. Oh, we're moving for work, because a lot of times my next question is, why are you moving? And like you said, oh, congratulations, whatever. But on that first part, it really gets them talking with you and starting to understand about them. You can kind of hear in their language what type of person they are. Are they that bubbly personality? Are they someone that's just like, I don't know, I'm moving from here to there? Okay, that's going to tell you just as much as it's going to give you a full paragraph about why they're moving, what they're doing, and kind of really lead into that.
Yeah. Well, another thing too is like when you get those those straight shooters, you can say that on the phone, be like, "That's so amazing to be able to meet you. Glad that you're moving. You also sound like a straight shooter to me. So we'll just get right to the meat and potatoes of this conversation. All I got to do, you're framing them how the process works. All I got to do is basically an inventory of what you have. I'll be able to give you our best rate, and then we can kind of go from there. Is that okay? Does that sound fair? And this way you can tell them, like, you recognize that, like, I know exactly what kind of person you are. We're just going to get right to it, because that person's going to be like, okay, these guys are going to be able to come into my house, get the job done, and peace out. And like, we're good. They don't need all the fluff and stuff, versus some people need the fluff, right?
And you might have the exact same conversation, like whether or not they want to talk it out or they're a straight shooter. But the fact that you openly acknowledge that you understand how they operate, then they think you're changing your process for them, but you could have the exact same conversation because they don't know what your process looks like.
Yeah.
So like just framing the customer that you're doing this for them could completely change their whole thought process in the conversation.
That customization is huge too. It gives you the opportunity for that positive emotional connection. I think it was probably Ben who kind of coined that and kind of threw that into the mix, but that's so effective and it's so valuable. That's one of the things actually Joel is really good at. He said when he started learning sales after he came to us knowing the moving business like the back of his hand. He's been in the industry, boots on the ground, been doing the work. But he said, I get him to laugh in the first, what'd you say, Joel, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds? You get him to laugh early in the conversation, you got that early positive emotional connection that Bethany was referring to, and it carries you the rest of the way.
Yeah.
It's really effective.
Two things that I had to, the mattress situation, right? You couldn't think of the word mattress. I've had that experience where the customer was on the phone, like when I first started selling, and I remember this because that's what like transitioned me into making sure that I'm asking about the inventory and not asking them what their inventory is, if that makes sense, right? And I've had that with the customer took 45 seconds to come up with the word dresser, right? People have brain farts. I do it all the time where I forget a common word. We were just talking earlier, Sean and I couldn't think of the word manifest, right? Like I know the word, sometimes you just forget it. Customers are gonna have, I don't think that's good for the call. And that's why I think when you take the inventory, control it. Hey, we're in the bedroom. We know the common items. Do you have a bed, and what size mattress is that? Does it have a box spring, right? Okay, perfect. And now, is there any nightstands next to that bed? Is there any dressers? Do you need help with the disassembly? Like, the common items. Once you get through all the common items, then you can say, all right, do you think is there anything else we could be forgetting in that bedroom before we move on to the next one? No? Okay. Yeah. All right, now let's move on to the second bedroom and like that sort of thing. because that will eat up a lot of time, and it also might make them feel some type of way where they feel silly. It might kind of drag yourself like apart from each other. It's not going to help with the rapport building. Maybe they laugh about it. It does help with the rapport building. You know, who knows? But definitely controlling it and asking about the specific items is going to go a long way. And then the second thing, and I'll pass it on, is just there was never ever an asking for the sale. There was a hey if you want a book, but it was like involved in the conversation. There was never a time to where it was like just asking for the sale. Hey, let's put this on a Visa or MasterCard. Hey, let's get you on the schedule. And there were so many times where he was like, perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, perfect? Yeah, let's get you on the schedule right now. Boom. Like, it was like perfect. And then we were waiting for the customer to say something else. Like, no, perfect? Yeah. All right, let's get you on the schedule. Perfect. Like, how can it get better than perfect? Let's get you on the schedule, right? So
Yeah, I felt he was ready to book as soon as she said 400.
I think it went another five
Could have said,
minutes.
Hey, we can.
Yeah.
What's credit card? And he would have gave it to then.
Yeah.
Still probably asked those
Yeah.
quote unquote
Yeah.
silly questions.
And we see
there
this
at the
stuff with
end,
like a
but-
lot of people, right? This isn't just like this specific call. That's why like I definitely want to like say this directly, is because this happens in a lot of different calls with a lot of us, right? So I think that was huge. Is like notice when they're like eating out of the palm of your hand. The guy had no energy, but he liked what he was hearing.
Yeah, he was ready to go.
Let's get him booked.
Yeah.